Hey Diesel, ready for another adventure?
Adventure? Sure. Do I need any special forces training? What about equipment? My jungle gear is scuba.
Easy there, killer. Just meet me at the terminal and we'll go from there.
Roger that. Okay, I'm ready to go. Lead the way.
All right. I think you'll enjoy today's activity. We call it driving in the dark.
Driving in the dark? But it's still daylight. Don't we need to wait until the sun goes down?
Oh, just follow me. Okay, here we are.
Wow! Does this really work?
Diesel, this isn't a real truck. This is our big rig simulator. We can program it for any time of day, any weather conditions, and the road conditions of our choosing. Go ahead, climb in.
Hey, this looks like a real tractor cab.
Well, that's what this simulator is. And we use it to train our drivers to handle challenging conditions like blizzards, icy roads, fog, driving at night, whatever they need to learn.
Wow! Let's get going then.
Okay, I just need to program the simulator for night driving conditions. Okay, I think we're ready. But before we begin, let's check to make sure the rig is safe and ready to ride at night. And remember to be ready, be buckled, as the FMCSA reminds us.
Okay, what do we look for again?
Remember your pre-trip inspection. Check headlights, brake lights, clearance and marker lights, tail lights, side mirrors, turn signals, windshield, wipers, and your horn.
I get everything but the windshield. What's the deal with that?
Before we even begin, a windshield cuts your light by about 5%. If it's dirty, more light is blocked. So clean is better for all windows, mirrors, and lights, even before you start your engine. In one survey, approximately 1 in 3 drivers said they had trouble seeing when they're driving in the dark. And remember, smoking in your cab will also cause a decrease in night vision.
That's huge! Oh, I'm so gonna get my eyes checked.
It's good for professional drivers to do that regularly.
That's a great idea, PT. Now, let's get started.
First things first, turn on your headlights and let's move on down the highway.
There. How's that?
Low beams. We'll start there. Low beams give you a field of vision that's about 250 feet ahead. High beams reach 350 to 500 feet. The faster you drive, the less time you have to react. So never overdrive the field of vision your lights give you.
Check. Good point.
It's also important to know we have a hard time determining the speed of oncoming vehicles at night, so never guess. Patience is always the better option.
Man, driving at night seems to have more things to remember. Am I right?
Yes, and we've just scratched the surface. There are 4 factors that impact night driving. Can you guess what they are?
Let me see. Okay, I think I've got this. There's road conditions. There's weather.
Good. Next?
The third would be... I know. The rig.
Right. And number 4?
Afraid you stumped me.
Well, it's the most important factor of all, the driver.
Really? Of the 4 factors that impact night driving, road conditions, weather, the rig, and the most important thing is the driver? So, how can that be?
I'm glad you asked. The driver is absolutely key in a number of ways. That includes how good your vision is, the level of your experience, your familiarity with the road, and how rested you are. So between dusk and dawn, it is especially important for the driver to be in good shape physically, mentally, and emotionally before climbing into the cab. You want to be at your most alert and focused.
Okay, now what?
Next, when you're going to drive at night, you need to be especially aware of your surroundings.
Like how?
Okay, let me ask you, have you ever driven by a bar at night, say about 7 p.m. or later?
Yep, and those lots are usually full of cars.
That's right, and all of those cars in bars' parking lots are potential hazards. My rule of thumb is be vigilant, especially around populated areas. You never know if you're sharing the highway with a drunk. According to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, almost 15,000 deaths per year were caused by alcohol-impaired drivers with a BAC level of .08 or higher.
Wow! Now remember that one for sure.
Okay, I've programmed the road for some fairly normal factors. Visibility is good. Let's see how quickly you can respond.
Okay, I'm ready. Hey, I can't read what that sign says.
When you drive at night, your field of vision is limited. When you get closer, you can see better.
Sounds reasonable.
But the catch is this: if you have to be closer to see something, you also have less time to react, right?
Right. So, night driving just by itself is riskier because you have a shorter field of vision and potentially less reaction time.
Most states require you to use your headlights from 30 minutes before sunset to 30 minutes after sunrise, or any other time in which persons or vehicles cannot be clearly seen for at least 1,000 feet. If you're using your bright lights, most state laws require you to dim them 500 feet before you meet a vehicle in the oncoming lane, or within 300 feet if you're passing.
Man, I don't know how many times I've been blinded by oncoming lights before.
Headlight glare is just one of the many reasons driving at night is more challenging.
Hey, what's going on?
Just programmed in a little rain and fog.
Man, I can barely see a few feet in front of this rig. What'll I do?
It's always best to slow your speed to accommodate the conditions. Weather always has a major impact on night driving. Fog, like rain, is not only wet, but produces moisture on your windshield. The moisture can restrict your field of vision down the road by clouding your windshield or magnifying the glare of oncoming traffic and surrounding lights. Speaking of glare, Diesel, what other precaution should a driver take to avoid being blinded by glare?
Turn up the lights?
No, Diesel. Divert your eyes from the light, and instead watch the edge of the road up ahead and use that edge as a steering guide. If necessary, be safe and slow down.
But won't I be able to see better with the high beams?
Not necessarily. When it's foggy, for example, it's better to use low beams because of the light reflection we talked about earlier.
Got it. Low beams in foggy conditions. Hey, what the?
Eliminated the fog, isn't that what you asked?
But now it's raining cats and dogs. Can't see any more than I could see in the fog.
So what do you do now?
Well, I'll slow down, that's for sure. And I'll keep an eye on the vehicles around me.
Good answer. Anything else?
Well, I'm gonna stay alert because these conditions make skidding a real possibility.
Exactly. And be prepared to stop quickly if you have to. But stop safely because the roadway's gonna be slick.
And my brakes will be wet too. That's another lesson, right?
Right.
Uh-oh. Now it's snowing. What now? Besides slowing down and making sure I keep the rig well within my field of vision.
When it's snowing and you're driving at night, use low beams because snow, like fog, can reflect light.
Man, are you and this simulator ever gonna cut me a break?
Diesel, this simulator gives you the best and the worst of real-world driving conditions. Are you up to the challenge?
Yeah, you're right. No time for whining. Let's continue.
Watch out for that deer on the side of the road.
Huh? Didn't even see it.
Animals, bikers, and pedestrians are more difficult to see at night, and they're hazards you need to be aware of.
There's a lot to remember about night driving.
Oh, we're barely scratching the surface.
Wow, That's a little scary.
But there's more, like the driver distractions we've talked about. Never talk on a handheld cell phone or send a text message while driving, remember? Here are some other trouble spots I call driver distractions. Not just for big riggers, but for anybody on the road. You may want to write these down.
Okay. Shoot.
Watch out for the following. 1. Drivers who lose eye contact with the road, like if they've dropped a cigarette and are trying to retrieve it. 2. People talking, especially if they look like they're arguing or in an emotional conversation. Or 3. Disabled vehicles.
So what you're saying is, be ready for anything.
You never know what the other person is going to do, and there's always the chance that they can cause you a problem.
Any other tips?
Here are 3 that are worth remembering. If you have a hard time seeing up ahead, slow down and use the edge lines and center lines to stay in your lane. 2. If you have to stop, pull completely off the roadway and put on your 4-ways. Set out the necessary emergency warning devices if you plan to be stopped for longer than 10 minutes. And 3. Slow down, be patient, and if you get tired, the only safe way to get back to full strength is a nap. Remember to log that time in your logbook.
What about coffee or caffeine pills? Or one of those Energizer drinks?
Did I mention those?
Nope.
Like I said, if you get fatigued, a nap is the only safe way to get back behind the wheel. Well, looks like our simulator time has run out. So what'd you think?
I think night driving, safe night driving, is for a professional. There's a lot more to it than I thought. And it doesn't hurt to have a refresher from time to time just to stay at the top of your game.
Couldn't have said it better myself, Diesel.
Well, see you later, simulator.
Oh, that's pretty lame, Diesel.